What's up guys, welcome back to a new video on the Alien Algo channel. Today we will be going over the markets again per usual, so without more ado said, let's get straight into it. We'll start at that S&P. Like I stated, we were going up a little bit too straight, so we just had to do a little pullback instead of reversing towards these lows, which I am not ruling out this option, but it just looks like this is that pullback already. When we measure this move, it's about 156%, 0.56% I mean, which could be a logical retrace. We also took out this wick, so if we really manage to hold this low, we could see some continuation. If we really lose this low, make sure to look at these wicks to watch for those sweeps, quick reclaims, and get back in. So let's go over the next one, the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq had a bit of a harder hit because some tech stocks yesterday were really getting some bad earnings, which resulted in a bigger downward move on that Nasdaq. So we can see quite clearly Nasdaq almost fully retraced this initial move that it started here, while S&P is still grinding a little bit above, being that stronger fund. When we look at the Dow Jones, it's really picking up some steam, but also having a little bit of a retrace. On those lower time frames on that open, it looks quite well. Nasdaq on that lower time frame also looks quite well. Would like to see it getting back above this level, because otherwise we could trade even further down. But if we really do reclaim this level, I will continue to draw it like this. If we reclaim this, we could start trading up again. The S&P looks quite decent on that open, so this really looks like some sort of low. Like I said, if it does not hold here, we will most likely be trading back to these lows. So now let's go to the thing everyone is here for, that beautiful BTC chart. I stated that if we don't really seem to hold here, because the thing that I pointed out on that lower time frame, on that 5 minute, it was from the top of my head, that if we manage to hold here, we could see some sort of move where we will be targeting this high and then onto the next highs. It keeps breaking while it rejected at that initial high. So where can you assume that I took out that trade? Right around here when I saw it being rejected, right? We want to see price getting above this, start to grind a little bit, and then continue up to the next level for us to hold that trade. If it starts doing something like this, then what do we have to do? We have to cut that trade, expecting it to get either a higher low or it to be a proper rejection. Do we know which one? No, but it's better to be safe than sorry, right? So what did we see after? We obliterated this level, and instead we still went to sweep on these lows, all of them. We even went back into that previous Monday high, which I pointed out I was not really liking the scenario of getting back to that previous Monday high. But we, in the end, actually did that. So that beautiful thing is, when we look at that volume chart, this is why I say study volume, because this is telling a lot. And price can be manipulated, volume can't. So we see we went below, we reclaimed it with aggression, and we just kept trending up, right? Okay, so let's go over the ETH charts, where we see we are still holding that range low on that daily chart, which is quite bullish, because if we just start compressing here, we should know by now that every time price gets compressed, you break out in it, right? You break out or up from it with a lot of volume. Because here it's just building compression. So when this starts to break, I don't know if it will be towards the downside or towards the upside. I expect towards the upside, but price can make me be wrong on this. So we'll simply be looking at this high to confirm that break, or this low to confirm that break towards the downside. What I do know is, because there is a lack of volume here, and there is a compression, that this move, that if we break below or above, should be quite explosive. Like we've had here we had a lack of volume, we started to compress, and then that break towards the downside was with explosion. Here you see that compression, we break out of it with explosion. Here again, you see some sort of compression starting, and you break down from it with explosion again. So this is why I say study those consolidations or compressions or ranges, however you like to call it. So what can we expect now? Because like I stated, we still want to be holding this low. And if we did not make a sweep and reclaim here, we wanted to see it here. Well, we are doing that. We already did actually. So here you see, we went below. Here you had a short reclaim, which in the end was being filled. But later you see this massive wick again, like I stated multiple times. Study those big wicks right here. These big wicks usually tell you something. Here again, you have a big wick, then you start to move up. You have a big wick, you start to move down. Big wick, down. Big wick, short term up. Big wick, longer trend up. Right, so this is a thing you guys should be studying. When we are looking at BTC on that volume chart, you guys know I am a massive sucker for volume. When we just look at this, what did I state? That if we don't hold here, this is like your last point of that high volume area, right around here, right? Where we had this interim bounce. But what do we see later? We break below it, we retest it, and now we enter that low volume, where we just slice through. We just don't give a living fuck about low volume, right? So it just flew straight past. What did we get after? We stated this area, if we don't hold this, we will most likely be going straight through those low volume nodes into that high volume node. We even made a retest of that POC. And where is this POC being drawn from? Yes, we have another one as well. This is being drawn from this candle right here. So it also takes this into account, and it takes this wick into account, right? So when we look at this from a 30 minutes, which of course is my preferred time frame, we quite clearly see how we had a swing here with that wick. You sweep it, you reclaim it, and you make a higher low, right? And we start moving back up, right back into that high volume node, because by now you should know these low volume nodes, we slice through them, right? Just like we did on the upside here, we sliced through it. On the downside again, we sliced through it. Back to the stop side, here we get a little bit of resistance. Before we start breaking up, we clear that high volume node right here. This little one, we clear it, and we go back up right towards that high volume node, right through those low volume nodes, right? So you already should see by now what level we are trading into. This is again that value area high, which we could be expecting some resistance as we currently are getting. But there comes the thing, if we manage to hold this, which I do think we should, because I stated on Twitter right around here, it's time for a higher low. Well, you see, this is a higher low in terms of this one. So I do think we just keep trending up right here. In that Monday video, I stated that I expected price to go up on Wednesday. Well, you guys can tell yourself what day it is today. So I have to say the accuracy the last few weeks has been really on point. But most people will keep fading it. But the people who are watching, you guys enjoy it. So you guys make sure to use it to the best of your ability. But what can we say right here? I do think we should just be breaking this level. But then one little thing comes across, which is this right here. Where this is that interim range where if we find this to be our range, because if I quickly remove this one, you see here, we had that moment of impulse, which is where you come back into. So this to this to this is your range, right? So here we draw a volume profile. Then you can already see that this is that value area high, where we really want to clear this. And if we clear this, I don't see what is holding us back to break a new autumn high. Right, so the crucial point to flip right here is this one. And when we clear this one, we'll be looking straight at this one. Why? Because look at that volume. High volume is stopping right around here, which is why the top of the box is there as well. And here you can see that low volume, where here that high volume starts again. So if we break through this, I'm quite literally expecting it to just blast through it again, just like we did here. You see how it started to clear it? Boom. Right back towards those highs. So this is a crucial level to flip. And when we look on the lower time frame, it seems to be flipping it right around here. And there was a little stock I wanted to point out to you guys, because I do think this should be some sort of short-term opportunity, where if it manages to hold this, I drawn it on the open, which almost never is a good plan. But I stated that we would like to be buying below the 0.5 level of this, which it is currently trading into, where if we look at this, this is a very hyped stock, right? On the open, it was very hyped. But the thing I stated that now that we have started to build some sort of base on the lower time frame, we have a clear invalidation for buyers, where this, if it starts to close below this, it's quite clear it will drop further. So this is a very clear invalidation, which I do like to trade. So if we just look at this, since it's such a hyped stock, I do think this should see its all-time high again. And if we do, this is a very nice opportunity. You see, there's only 7.7% in risk against 75% upside, which results in a 7.4 RR, right? So this is a very good opportunity for the people that want to get a little bit into stocks. And if you want to do a bit of a safer play, yeah, shit, this already started to bounce. Let's look at the next one. Now I will start giving you guys a couple stocks. I shared this one earlier, right around here. Already see how it should be up a little bit. And this, I do think it should just keep trading up. Looks like this is one of my old charts, but these are some logical points, right? So how do we enter this? We find that range, we draw a box, and we want to be buying around that 0.5 or when it starts getting out of that entry zone. So we have two conditions. It first hit that 0.5, now it starts to leave that zone. So I do think if you're bullish on payment systems, if you're bullish on crypto, this should be a hold. Because this is fully in this, what's the word again? They're fully being focused on crypto as of now. The only problem that PayPal had was cost, where their margins were too thin, and now they have a new CEO who is fully focused on cutting costs. So this automatically solves that problem of margins. So I wanted to get that into this video real quick. And what can we see already? You see this? That BTCD is still grinding above this, but yet some alts are finding some gas. So you can be focused on a little bit of alts. I do think it is quite a viable moment to load up on some alts. If this really starts to hold, then this can be a very nice compression to play with an explosive move again. So keep your eyes on the logical levels to flip, because there are a couple, but this should be that key area to flip, which we currently are doing with quite some volume. So I hope you guys liked the video. With all that having said, make sure to follow me on Twitter, where I am active a lot more. So if there is anything else you guys want me to take into account in these daily market opens, like a specific stock or some other alt, make sure to drop it down in the comments and I will employ it in that next video. So hope you guys liked it. With all that having said, have a nice day, guys. Goodbye.